I'm really honored to be a co-chair of the 2011 World Economic Forum here in Africa. Africa has been referred to as a continent whose time has come, and I think with great reason. The potential in Africa is tremendous. Economies are growing across the continent. There's a young, vibrant, growing population, and of course, Africa benefits from a wealth of natural resources. Africa is extremely important to KPMG. Our member firms operate throughout the continent. So for the people of KPMG, there's great opportunity to both benefit from and contribute to the economic growth and quality of life for all here in Africa. Our people appreciate the challenges and the hardship facing many of the African population. It is critical that business leaders understand these challenges, as well as appreciate the opportunities they can bring. The dialogue and sharing of ideas we'll have here throughout the World Economic Forum can and will contribute to solutions to create an environment for continued growth and prosperity and improve quality of life throughout the continent. First, it's important that we all recognize that Africa is not a single economy. Different countries have different economies and are not going to have the same exposure to global and regional risk. Overall, governments throughout Africa need to ensure they have the ability and capacity to identify and manage risk. There needs to be a strong focus on developing and acquiring these skills. It's also important to have a clear economic policy, clear objectives. Measuring risk against clear objectives can help governments make better decisions in how they evaluate and respond to all different kinds of risk. Another way Africa can limit the impact of global and regional risk is by increasing inter-Africa trade. Africa today relies on the rest of the world for about 90% of its trade. Both growing demand throughout Africa and with improved infrastructure and regional cooperation, Africa can take better advantage of its own fast-growing and dynamic markets. There's no question that Africa is a great story today. And one of the ways that you can even improve that story is for Africa to promote a more broad-based growth in its economies by attracting investment beyond primary natural resources into more value-added sectors. Natural resources today are the main focus of investment throughout Africa, but the African economies can benefit by increasing the productivity, the capacity toward other sectors, particularly consumer-related parts of the economy, such as small manufacturing, the wholesale area, and retail markets. It's also important to reduce trade barriers that restrict inter-Africa trade that are in place today, to reach partnership agreements that can harness the resources of the continent to benefit all of Africans, and to work toward greater cooperation between government sectors and business. Africa today is a huge growth story, there's no doubt about it, and especially a story of skilled, entrepreneurial, passionate people. Governments and business need to work together to provide the leadership, the governance, the infrastructure that will enable this talent to flourish, to create an enterprising business environment that will empower employment, create broader, more inclusive growth, and benefit all Africans.